we are on. We're on. We're back. Hello and welcome back to the Rebecca Adehill Show. I have decided that this is no longer a podcast. This is a show. We have upgraded, we have elevated, and we are ready to go next level. So when I sat with the thought of bringing back the podcast, and I'm going to take you behind the scenes of my very strategic pause. And I must admit, this has been a very difficult pause. Because if you know me, you know that I love talking. So it has been difficult to not release an episode every single week. But in Swedish we say, den som väntar på något gott väntar aldrig för länge. And what that means is the person that's waiting for something good, you never wait long enough. So we are back and I am sitting down at a commercial property that I recently bought. And I have upgraded the setup. I have a full-time employee in my company, which is my incredible brother who is the tech pro behind the scenes of everything that I do. So this setup right here, if you're watching me on YouTube, hello, it's all him. It is so good to be back. And how are you? How have you been? How has your start to 2024 been? I feel like I have had the most incredible start to the year. And now we are almost halfway through the year, which is absolutely insane. But the conversation I want to have with you today is around taking risk and how we are navigating risk in the first place. Sitting, recording my first very episode in this commercial space here. This was probably one of the biggest risks that I have taken to date. And now we're here and I'm like, I'm so glad that I took that risk. But I want to tell you the behind the scenes of how we actually bought this commercial property and all of the obstacles that happened along the way. So I'm going to share that with you. Because looking back in hindsight, that I would never, if I knew how many challenges that would come along the way, I don't think that I would be sitting here today. But I had this feeling, you know, when you get a sensation, I think this happens with a lot of things for me. When I see it and I get this full body sensation that something is going to happen, I just know that it will. And when I get that feeling, I get full body tingles, all of my body, like goosebumps just talking about it. I know it's going to happen. And sometimes I don't even know how. I don't know how it's going to happen. I don't know when it's going to happen, but I just choose to have faith in the process. So I have been working from home for quite a few years, and my business has obviously grown to a very healthy point for the past few years. But I felt creatively that I wanted another outlet, a space that could simply be my creative space. So I go to work and that is my zone. Like that is my space where I get to be creative, where I get to workshop, where I get to create all of my magic. So I felt that something else is coming. And I got a little tingle, something is coming, and I wasn't quite sure what that was going to be yet. And I started to look to lease a commercial property, and I was like, girlfriend, you're not going to lease. We are going to buy because one of your values is wealth and creating generational wealth. You are going to buy your next property, and this is going to be your first commercial property. So I knew that was happening. And I started to do my research online and I came across this place here. Mind you, this is the first ever commercial property I looked at. The one space I looked at, I knew it was mine. I walked in, I made a deposit, and I'm going to go into details of what happened next. But this was the only place I looked at. Beautiful location, located only 3 minutes from the stunning Kira Beach. It's a brand new development and they had 2 units left. And I walk in to this property and it's literally a warehouse, like it's a shed, and we have completely transformed it into an incredible 2-story studio downstairs, office upstairs. And I walked in and I had the conversation with the real estate agent and I just knew that this was it. Had no idea of what I had to do to get a commercial property, and that is completely different from buying a residential. So I have a really good idea when it comes to buying residential properties, but I did not know what it would take to buy a commercial property. So I walked out and he said, look, we've had a lot of interest. There are 2 units left. Everything else has sold, and let me know what you want to do. At this stage, I had not even had a conversation with my broker, and we did not even have a pre-approval. And he said, if you want it, you need to put down a deposit like next week, or I can't promise that you'll get it. And I understand that, absolutely. So I went home and I had a chat with my husband and I said, look, it's the one. I said, do you trust me on this one? And he looks at me and said, whatever you want to do, you do you. And it's so beautiful that he has full faith in the decisions I make when it comes to, properties and what we should buy and shouldn't buy and how we should invest. That's really my thing. So it's really good to have his support when it comes to that. But we didn't have a pre-approval. So basically what I did, I called up the agent and I said, I am ready to put down a deposit. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, holy shit, Rebecca, you need to get your pre-approval from the bank first. And he goes, can you make it unconditional? And what that means is that when you make it unconditional, obviously, if the loan falls through, you lose out on your deposit. I said, I pay a deposit, unconditional, and I am also happy to settle in 21 days, which is like unheard of when it comes to buying a commercial property. And I did not know, but I'm like, at this point, I'm all in. So I'm just going to do my thing. I called the broker and I said, okay, we really need to roll up our sleeves now because I have just done something. I have paid a very large amount as a deposit for a commercial property and we are settling in 21 days. Let's go. And I could feel, his body just go, ugh. He goes, 21 days? He said, you're joking now. I said, no, I'm not joking. We need to settle in 21 days or I'm going to lose out on a very, very large amount. I know that is my risk, but I got full body tingles. And can you imagine me saying this to an older man? I said, I have full body tingles. I know it's going to happen. So you need to work your magic because I see myself in there. And when I see something, it's going to happen. So you just need to do what you need to do and it's going to be mine. And he was sort of just scratching his head and he goes, just leave it with me. Little did I know when you buy a commercial property that your borrowing capacity is not as much as a residential. So from needing to put down like a 6-figure a difference, I guess, I paid a deposit, but like a 6-figure difference on a settlement, when it was 14 days to go, I found out that we had to come up with another 6 figures. And when it was 7 days to go before we settled, I then found out, this is how much research I had done, so it was a big risk. I found out that you also need to pay tax on a commercial property. So then there was another 10% on the purchase price. So literally within 14 to 7 days, I had to come up with multiple 6 figures as a cash payment. And if I did not have those funds available on a settlement, we would have lost out on the deposit. On the Friday, we were due to settle on the Monday. On the Friday, we got our approval from the bank. It was like Friday afternoon. We got our approval. We've got all the cash that was required. And then that following Monday, so one business day, like literally half a working day spare. And we settled on this property. And along the way, we had obviously that many obstacles and challenges, but I had full faith in myself, in the process, and the vision I got seeing myself in here. I knew it would happen. And I think when I reflect on other areas of my business and in my life and the way I've taken, risks in the past, I've got that same feeling. And I guess that is your gut feeling, your intuition. And I've chosen to lead my life completely trusting that. That once I get the vision and once I see it in my mind's eye, I do not doubt. Do I have fear come up? Absolutely. I feel the fear and I move with it. But doubt, zero doubt. And I believe when you lead yourself with that level of certainty, things will happen. You will make things happen because in your mind, it's already done. In your mind, it's done. In my mind, it's done. It was happening. I saw me sitting right here before I had even paid the deposit. So I want you to think for your life right now, are you trusting the little nudges and intuition and the little signs that you should make a certain move? And do you go all in on that? And every time you choose not to trust those signs, and every time you choose not to trust your intuition, that is when we plateau. That is when you will experience a level of overwhelm, frustration, procrastination. All of those icky emotions will start to come up. But every single time you choose expansion, every single time you choose to evolve, you choose to have faith in you. When no one else believes in you, when no one else tells you that you should do something but you feel it, do you trust yourself in that moment? I could have had hundreds of people telling me, Rebecca, don't do it. That would not have mattered to me because the trust I have in myself and the little nudges and signs I get along the way, I go all in on me, all in on me. And here we are. Now, downstairs, we have a photography studio called Scandinavian Studio. If you haven't checked us out, go to Instagram, Scandinavian_studios. And it feels so beautiful to even infuse some of my Swedish heritage in this space, even the designs and, the furniture that we've chosen and the whole energy of the space. It feels so abundant coming in here. So my message for you today as the comeback of the show, of the podcast, I want you to do something that will stretch you. Do something that will bring up a level of, I'm not going to call it fear. It may feel like fear in the beginning, but I want you to see it as you have just met your threshold. I had a conversation with a client, and I want to bring this to you, and maybe this will really land for you. I showed her my entire 7-figure funnel, and I walked her through the process. It was in a group setting in one of my programs called Scale with Ease. And basically, I give them my entire funnel. And once it's set up, it is incredible. But the whole process of creating it and, changing the copy and like seeing all of the emails and the depth of this funnel, it is an absolute money-making machine. So once it's set up, it's definitely so worth it. But the whole process of getting it all done, especially if you haven't had a funnel in the past, sometimes it can feel like a lot. So I asked my client, how are you feeling? How are you feeling right now? And she looks at me and she said, it just feels a lot. Like it feels a lot. And I said, how beautiful is that? And she kind of looked at me and said, I don't know if that's beautiful. And I said, how beautiful is that? Because I have just shown you where your threshold of expansion is. What that means is that she had all of these feelings come up for her and it felt like a lot. It felt like overwhelm. It felt like, I don't know if I can do this. When we can learn to change that feeling of overwhelm or it feels a lot to thank you for showing me where my threshold of expansion is. And that feeling, when you can pivot that feeling and be grateful for the signs of your body indicating so clearly of where your threshold is at currently, and you are sitting right up the top of that threshold. How powerful is that you can lead yourself to the point where your body is indicating to you, hey, girlfriend, you are right at your threshold of expansion. Push through that. Welcome to your next level. Every single time it feels a lot, exhale, keep on moving. That's your next level. So every time you have moments like that, and trust me, it becomes addictive. Now I'm like, bring on that feeling. What else can I do? Show me my threshold. Rebecca, bring you closer to your threshold every single day. So I do something that will expand me. I do something that is going to show me where my threshold is. Otherwise, you'll plateau. Otherwise, you're going to feel like you're going to be in the same position this time next year. But you have to learn to go there. You have to learn to actually lead yourself to that threshold. And that is your responsibility. It is your responsibility to lead yourself to that point of expansion. And the beautiful thing is when you have coaches and mentors or other expanders in your life, they will show you what's possible for you. So really leverage people around you as well. And if I'm just going to touch on leveraging people around you as well, your environment is absolute key. When you surround yourself with people who are constantly in the energy of expansion and growth and going that next level, you will be that next person. So if you are currently the unicorn of your friendship circle, if you are currently the person that is doing all of these amazing things, we need to get you in another friendship circle. And I'm not saying it's something wrong with those friends, but if you are a person that is interested in growth and personal development and creating wealth inside of your business and life, you need to make sure that you surround yourself with other people that are going to expand you. Otherwise, you are going to continue to feel like you are at the top. I love feeling like I'm the underdog. Like, show me what's possible. Put me in a room where I am the small fish. Show me where I can expand. Show me what's possible. Have those conversations where I'm almost uncomfortable. And I thank those people because they show me what's possible for me. So I'm very mindful with who I have those conversations with because I'm so committed to my own growth and expansion. So just to recap this first episode now, I want to invite you to go and seek out what your next level looks like. I want you to go out and seek out that threshold. And when those feelings come up, I want you to say thank you for showing me where my threshold is. Thank you for showing me that I'm right on the edge of expansion. The moment you exhale and move through that, and what I mean by moving through that is taking action, welcome to your next level. And repeat that process over and over and over again, and you will blow your damn mind, and your life will be unrecognizable in 6 to 12 months. But that comes with so much integrity. It comes with so much self-leadership, self-awareness. Like, really get to know yourself, really get to know your patterns. Who are you when no one's watching? Who are you when no one is watching? What are all of those unseen hours like? When no one is watching, who is that person? When no one is watching. That is where the magic is. And not just that, I'm always highly impressed. I can celebrate all people in their expansion and in their success, but when they are up against it, seeing how a person shows up and the way they are leading themselves in moments of challenge, that is where the magic is. So when we stop to think of life and our businesses that I just want everything to be easy. And of course, we want to experience flow and ease in our businesses. But I really want to invite you not to be afraid of challenges and not to be afraid of discomfort, because that is such a good opportunity for growth. It is such a good opportunity for you to get to know yourself better. I hope that you have loved today's show. It's not just a podcast. We are making this a show. And if you are on YouTube, thank you for watching me on YouTube. I am so grateful to be back. I have so much to say. I could sit here all day. I have that much to say, but we are going to wrap it up. And I want you to connect with me on my Instagram DM. And if this episode really resonated with you, it would mean the absolute world to me if you could leave a review, if you could leave me a comment or send me a DM on Instagram. I will be so very grateful. Thank you for bringing your beautiful energy and just tuning in and listening. I'm so grateful for you, and I will see you back next week for another show.